34, another starter, Israel Machado, 32 years old. Marcel de Souza, one of two brothers here, 35. Ricardo Cardoza, 32. Gerson Victorino playing in his third Olympics. Schmidt, of course, playing in his fourth. So they don't lack for experience.
Definitely don't lack experience, but perhaps they lack a bit of compassion. To me, Simon, the place to start rebuilding a team is a couple of years before the Olympics, not after the Olympics. A lot of players out there, as you said, been for 3 Olympics, and Schmidt, this is his 4th. And really, if the Brazilians don't win anything here, and who's to say that they have any chance against the United States, then, well, perhaps the coach should have started rebuilding a couple of years ago, not after the Olympics.
So here we go then, for the start of this 4th match.
And you know, Simon, the United States haven't won a tap here yet. Jack Daly, that is the one criticism of his team. When are we going to win an opening tap?
Larry Bird firing pretty well. Moving from Victorino. And there's Oscar Schmidt, who is very much the threat for Brazil.
That's right. The Brazilians call him the black hole, because once you give it to him, you never get it back again. That's it, the ball's gone.
Probably just sows that. He'll be one of the chief playmakers of the team. Jordan going with him. Rebound, Larry Bird. To Souza again. And there he is. Villas-Boas. So they'd like to stop the game right now.
That's right. We understand that the Dream Team have actually lost the game, but it wasn't in a serious competition. It was in a pickup game in San Diego, when the aim was to get used to the international rules and run a few plays. And apparently they lost to, we won't say a bunch of kids that they picked up in the street, but some good players, obviously. But an experimental game. That's the only time they tasted defeat.
Bird. Drexler. Not going in at the moment. De Souza.
I can't remember a time, a game here in Barcelona, actually, Simon, when the Dream Team have made a particularly good start. And it takes them just a couple of minutes to get into their stride. Bird's missed an open shot, Drexler's missed an open shot, but Charles Barkley doesn't miss easy dunks like that.
17 against the USA, 17 dunks. That's got to be very nearly an all-time record.
I would think an all-time record in an Olympic finals game, Simon, definitely. Referees tonight, Mr. Zich from Poland, very, very experienced referee nowadays, done an awful lot of big games, and Mr. Koller from Czechoslovakia, that's him just handling the ball there.
De Souza. Well, they made a very impressive start indeed. Victorino gets another 3-pointer. Only 2. Must have been perilously close.
Yeah, Mr. Zich was tempted to put his hand up in the air then, but just looked down, and Victorino's foot was on that line, so that is only a 2-pointer.
Look at Charles Barkley hustling. Good second effort. Drexler. Barkley again. And eventually he gets the foul.
What a hustler, Charles Barkley. That is indicative of his enormous physical strength. And look, he's not even breathing heavily. Coming across to ask the referee, why didn't you call it the first time? But I think it was 4 or 5 times in, and Sir Charles eventually got the call in his favour. Here we go, 1. Miss. There was a foul, it wasn't called. Well, perhaps that was the foul that was actually called, and I reckon that was about 4 times.
Barkley quoted in USA Today, which of course we get over in Europe, saying that he's very much ready for the Brazilians. It goes back to Portland, where apparently one of the Brazilians said that they were going to be the nightmare for the US team come the Olympics. And Barkley said, yeah, we read that and we're quite interested in it, and we'll see what happens tonight. So maybe whoever said that in the Brazilian team will be regretting it now.
I can tell you who said it, Simon. It was Oscar Schmidt, the number 14, and Sir Charles Barkley definitely out to make a point here. He reckoned that the Brazilians reckoned that the Americans were playing far too much time playing golf in Portland. Well, I think they've come here to play tonight.
They still lead. De Souza. This is Villas-Boas. Souza again. Machado. Third rebound. And here's the man. So easy. Sets himself so much space and so much time.
There's that little stutter dribble there. That's what gets Michael Jordan so much space. His man thinks that he's going right and he just changes direction so quickly. He's got a metre or two in which to shoot, pulls up, and it's almost a guaranteed 2 points. Michael Jordan sporting just a little trace of a beard there.
Oscar Schmidt. Wonderful shooter.
The Brazilians expect 40 points from Oscar every time he goes on the court. Charles picking up a rebound there. But the Brazilians, if they don't get anything like 40 tonight from Oscar, then this game isn't even going to be close.
And here he is. Forced that a little. But of course, the Americans make you force.
Clyde Drexler picking up a foul there for boxing out when his man was in the air and just sort of helping him out of bounds. But referee Zitch spotted that very quickly. Drexler's first foul. Jose Medalla, the Brazilian coach, and who's to say that he shouldn't really be thinking about rebuilding. That's the third three-pointer for Brazil.
So with any other team, they might be a little worried, but this dream team, not short on confidence, and just, if you had a moment of doubt, Larry Bird settles it with another three-pointer.
He hit 3 the other night against Germany after getting his eye in with the first one, but the Brazilians, they won't lie down.
Villas-Boas gets them in front again. But a very good start. And Bird again in the corner. Oh dear. Robinson takes advantage of Villas-Boas' mistake. And Evander Holyfield there, watching from the sideline.
Robinson, for a man at 7 wide, got such quick hands. Chris Robinson, the Seoul survivor from Seoul, bronze medalist, and no doubt very confident of going one better this time, or 2 better rather, taking the bronze into a gold.
Villas-Boas, who's been 8 years on the team, national team, doing pretty well here at the start. Larry Bird. Most of the teammates reckon that this will be Bird's swan song here, but he may well not come back next season.
Well, Larry's not actually commenting on that at all. He's using this tournament to regain some of his condition, because his bad back has troubled him throughout the season. He made only spasmodic appearances in this year's NBA playoffs. And remember, he played in the first game in the All-Americas tournament in Portland to qualify for here. But then only came on court 2 minutes from the end of the final game.
Oh, great stuff from Barkley. Now, was the foul committed before the shot?
Well, strangely enough, Simon, in the Tournament of the Americas, they were calling that as a continuation play and saying it was sideline ball. But in Europe, they're giving 2 points and a bonus. I would have thought before either tournament started that would be the other way round. Barkley fails to make it a 3-point play, but the Americans hustle and keep possession. That's what he meant to do in the first place.
Great steal from Drexler, and there is Charles Barkley. So they're in front once more. 5 minutes gone, and entertaining 5 minutes it's been.
Vicious move there from Schmidt, trying to get a finger roll in there against players of the quality that he's got opposing him tonight. All he can expect really is to get the ball stuffed down his face, and there's Charles Barkley, highest score in the game so far. And a smile came from Charles then. And
they look a little intimidated by Barkley. It's not difficult to understand, but we've not really seen it before in the games they've played. But the Brazilians just giving him a little path through to the basket, it seems to me.
That's right. I think we'll let you have this one, Sir Charles. They're saying almost perhaps he's talked them into it. Remember, he's only 6'4.5", and I say only because he's really dwarfed in height-wise anyway, but certainly not in ability by his teammates.
So here's Mauri de Souza, the younger of the 2 brothers. And in it goes from Villas-Boas.
This is the best start by any team playing against the NBA players of the Dream Team. Brazil, they trail by, well, make that 5 now because that was a 3-pointer. But a very good start from Brazil.
Gave Drexler far too much room there. You've got to watch it on defense. Corrected score there. Victorino. Machado. But way off. And Larry Bird makes them pay.
No, with Larry's back, we don't really expect him to be stretching up and dunking it. Nice, easy layup. No problems for Larry Bird, but no histrionics either.
D'Souza. Villas-Boas. No problem on offense, no problems, but defensively they're beginning to struggle a little.
That's right. As you say, Simon, they look a bit intimidated on defense. But that was a smart offense. Manking off a screen and a lot of freedom. But once again, Charles Barkley wide open inside. And really, no one attempting to block the shot. Not that you can block a dunk like that very easily.
And you can't afford to throw the ball away there, like Maury D'Souza did. Interesting, the Americans here obviously beginning to enjoy it once more. They say that the biggest challenge that they have is who's going to give the biggest pass in the match. Not the most outrageous dunk, but they love the passing that they've been able to get together here.
That's right, especially on the end of the fast break. You can see a 3-on-1 or 3-on-nothing situation many times with this team. And the man with the ball doesn't necessarily want to score. He'll pass it off and make an assist for a teammate. And a nice move there, fast break there from the Brazilians as well. They're renowned for their fast break, actually.
And Schmidt did get rid of the ball there to Villas-Boas. Bit of a hopeful ball in there from Larry. There's the greatest man who's ever played Brazilian basketball, Oscar Schmidt. And coming in now, Jorge Guerra.
That last pass from Bird, I don't know whether that was an attempted alley-oop, but that's not allowed in international ball, and perhaps Larry forgot that for the moment. Number 10, that's Maury D'Souza. Poniquar is, we're getting slightly confused with these names. He's known in the basketball circles as D'Souza, but Poniquar, that's his surname, and he has a brother, Marcel, in the same team.
Ewing. Straight in, straight on the scoreboard.
I think Ewing had to check that he actually got as much space as he thought he had then. He faked up and there was no one to fake.
They're being a little bit too lax on defense, and of course that's going to cost them. But what is surprising is that they're able to penetrate as much as they have on offense.
Attempted sky hook there against Patrick Ewing, and not many people in the NBA do that against him, and the intimidation resulted in a fast break for Clyde Drexler.
So now the authority beginning to show, and from being behind just a couple of minutes ago, suddenly 9 points in front. Oscar, crowd shouting for some travel. Here's Jordan, Bird in front of him. Drexler, Barkley, and again the foul, this time on Victorino.
Has been called offensive foul, actually, Simon. So Charles Barkley doesn't like that one bit. We had a 4-on-1 situation, some lovely passing, and a foul called against Charles Barkley. Interesting.
Very interesting. Victorino must have feel he's got out of jail there. Shot in from Victorino. Pereira. This is Oscar Schmidt. And the long arms of Ewing. And he goes to Jordan. Plenty of height on the passing.
Yeah, Oscar Schmidt's got lovely footwork, but it doesn't matter how good your footwork is, you still have to be selective on your shot. And, well, the man then, he had the lane just opened up to him like the parting of the Red Sea, and he couldn't believe it and just shot too hard on the backboard.
Victorino it was. Villas-Boas picks up his foul. And here comes Karl Malone, who's been as impressive as anybody inside in this tournament.
That's right. Quiet man on the court. Quiet man off the court as well, from the deep south. And just gets on with the job, like the early morning postman that he has been nicknamed after, the mailman.
And also on Chris Mullin from Golden State Warriors. And a little bit of indecision.
Scottie Pippen didn't read the pass. The pass went to the hand near the defender there, and I think Pippin was expecting it to go to the outside hand, and a rare turnover. Jack Daly there, just instilling a few basics into his players.
For those of you wondering what's happened to Magic Johnson, Malone immediately makes his mark on the match with that check. A bit more about Johnson in a moment. Let's just watch this offense. Guerra. Schmidt. And a foul there against Scottie Pippen. Yeah, the news on Magic Johnson is, of course, after the opening game against Angola, he had a bit of a problem with his right knee, ligament just behind it, and they were hoping to get him ready for this game, but it obviously hasn't happened. A bit of a disappointment for the crowd.
That's right. The other disappointment is the non-appearance so far anyway of John Stockton, who had a displaced fracture of the fibula, the right fibula in Portland, and we can only hope that he will make some kind of an appearance in the tournament. The referee just giving the ball to Michael Jordan there, and Brazilians reckon it came off his foot. Look at that block shot on the way up, quite legal.
Malone. A little bit hopeful, a little bit lucky. Scottie Pippen set up a proper offense now, and Jordan from way downtown. And Ewing not troubled at all. They just gave him that.
Smile on his face, says he didn't really expect the ball to hit the rim. He thought that was going to be a straightforward slam, and well, the Brazilian might just have knocked that off the rim actually. Once it's on the rim, then he can knock it away, but not on that occasion.
But it seems that once the Americans get in to real position inside, it's no contest.
That's right, put the ball in the paint and it's a score guaranteed. Here you are, classic example of that situation we just talked about. Get it inside the bat to Ewing, and it's, well, you're guaranteed to come away with something. 2 points, a foul, or even both.
Shot in from D'Souza, and away comes Jordan. And he was more or less mugged there, was Mullin.
Good description there, Simon. There was no way he was going to get a layup, and a lot of referees I know would have been tempted to call that intentional on Guerra, number 5. Just took Mullin's arms away with little ceremony.
So Jordan takes a rest, but by now the pattern is pretty well established. Timeout for Brazil, and after an encouraging start, they'll be a little alarmed at the facility at which the Americans are getting inside.
That's right, they seem to be able to score about 10 points before you blink an eye, and from being 2 or 3 points up, the Brazilians now find themselves staring at a big margin. And this easy layup there from Larry Bird, not tempted with the dunk at all. Got a bad back, of course, but Clyde Drexler, he's not got a bad back. A lovely slam there and a good camera angle. And this is Charles Barkley, the pass inside to Drexler.
Lovely 30 seconds of some of the greatest stars in all sport there. And there are the names. Amazing that they are here, and we understand it could well be the last time in these Olympics that such a team is brought together. The strong rumour is that in Atlanta the team may not be of such high quality. NBA players, but maybe not the key NBA players.
Yeah, Dave Gavitt, the president of the Basketball Association of the United States, did actually qualify that somewhat, Simon. He reckoned that if a couple of players, say for instance Patrick Ewing, wanted to play, then he would give it serious consideration.
You can see his point. Here's Mullin.
A lot of fans here for Brazil, though. They've gone a little bit quiet, and that's unusual for Brazilians. But Mullin there picking up a foul. Puts the Brazilian on the line for 2 free throws. And that's Mullin's first foul. Interesting little move from Coach Daly. He started the game against Croatia with a defensive alignment for Scottie Pippen. He put him on Tony Kukoc. And in this game, he's brought Pippen in quite late into the first half, but Pippen has immediately gone to Oscar Schmidt.
Wilson Kuhn on the line, his first Olympics, one of the only 2 players in the lineup playing in their first Olympics. Such is the experience of the Brazilian team, but it's not to much effect at the moment. This is a hot period for the Americans. That's Boas. And here's Drexler. Pippin, but well read. Vilas Boas.
Classic example there of the transition game that the Americans can play on defense as well. They lost the ball, but they got back. And the Brazilians not exactly forced to take a long shot, but, well, they're not going to go inside against the likes of Patrick Ewing, who was first man back there.
Mullin. Pippin. And they're getting all the help they need.
That's right. I've not been overly impressed with the Americans' outside shooting in this tournament. They're red hot from medium range, but perhaps that three-point arc is, I might even say, it's a little bit too close for them, Simon. It's a metre closer to the hoop than it is in the NBA.
Perhaps it's a little bit too tempting.
That's right. They have an awful lot of space out there.
D'Souza. Well in there together, but see how quickly the Americans break. And Malone just pops it in. No problem.
Great basics there from Malone, using his body to protect the ball, and the ball was going in anyway, and the only way a Brazilian could have stopped him was to foul him, which is exactly what Malone wanted. Great protection of the ball.
Victorino. Rather, it's Ferreira, Rolando Ferreira. Another vastly experienced guy.
Malone on the turnaround with consummate ease, just plops the ball in. Just talking to Boris Becker there, the coach to the Croatian team, Peter Skansi, who's, Pekic, who's just beaten Germany.
Oh, lovely little tip in there from Viana, who's new on, Jose Viana. There's a fair amount of money in this part of the sport at the moment. You've got probably three of the richest guys in the whole of sport. You've got Boris Becker, who's worth about 30 million. You've got Michael Jordan, who gets 30 million a year. And you've got Evander Holyfield.
And of course, we've got you as well, Simon.
And Larry Bird's not short of a few, Bob.
I'll get it right in a minute. It was Peter Skansi, coach to Croatia, talking to Boris Becker. Of course, the German side, they have a Yugoslav coach as well in Spletisana Pesic.
Yes. Malone, a threat from inside and out. And that is a worry. And the lead rapidly increasing, up to 16 now.
Good pass there, bounce pass right through the middle of the USA defeat.
Viana. He's had a good start. Only been on 2 or 3 minutes, but has made a big impression. Lead down to 14. Here's Mullin. Oh, what a rebound there from Ewing.
And the only way you can stop Patrick Ewing when he gets the ball inside there is to give him a great big hefty shove, which is what the defender did then.
And then walk away as if it wasn't you.
Which Marcel D'Souza, Poniquar, as he's billed in the official program, puts the ball sideline USA.
Into Mullin. Rebound Viana. Why he wasn't the starter was a mystery to me. Here's D'Souza. Viana. D'Souza again. A good move, not a great finish, but in the end Santos picks up the garbage around the basket.
Yeah, you need a few easy points like that against the Americans. They don't come very often, and if you do get a chance, then you've got to capitalize. Good rebounding there.
Mullin. Yes. He's a threat anywhere.
All it takes for this NBA team now, I'm sorry, I keep calling them NBA, but they are the USA. All it takes now is a couple of people like Ewing and Robinson to start drilling a couple of three-pointers, because just about everybody else does.
Intensity on defense.
Here's a good three.
But they left D'Souza. That's Marcel D'Souza free. Very quick half it's been so far. Not too many fouls. Mullin. Yes. Well, he's hot at the moment from there.
The nice thing about these American players is if they do something once that's good, they go and do it again, and obviously Mullins found that spot on the floor that he likes, so that's 2 threes from him in quick succession. And the other nice thing that people very often overlook is the basics that these Americans got on defense. Someone fakes them up, they don't leave the floor, they stay on the floor and make the man find another option. There's Drexler hustling hard on the boards, recorded by Magic Johnson.
We haven't got too many stats around where we are at the moment, but I'd hate to think the number of defensive rebounds that Brazil have got. Couldn't be too many.
No, it's probably not getting to double figures, and by this stage of the first half it should be a lot more than that. But then again, they have got, or rather they had, Charles Barkley against them, who's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. They've got Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone in there now as well. And there's young Charles. "We want Brazil badly," was his quote before this game, because Brazil didn't even manage to play against the United States in Portland in the Tournament of the Americas. They lost to Venezuela, surprisingly, in the semi. Nice give and go there from the Brazilians. That's playing simple but effective basketball.
De Souza and Viana. Viana again involved. De Souza finishing it off. Lucky tip by Mullin.
Well, the whole world heard it there. Come on, ref. One has to speculate. Would that have been called a foul at the other end? Slight contact, trying to stop the ball going inside. And, well, I've seen people like Scottie Pippen and Clyde Drexler reaching in at the other end, and nothing being called. And Guerra just expressing his disquiet at that call there.
And Chuck Daly off his seat for just about the first time. Seems like he was pretty amused by it. 1-on-1. So here's Karl Malone. Fair amount of encroachment.
Just a little bit, which on the first of the one-on-ones, had that miss, then really that should have been sideline ball to the defense, because Patrick Ewing was in there about half an hour before the shot left his hand.
Karl Malone from the Utah Jazz, picked in the '85 draft, 13th pick. And my word, has he not been a good pick? Well,
Patrick Ewing definitely learns quickly there, because he obviously felt that he's not supposed to go in there early on the first shot. The Brazilians went in early on the second shot, and Karl Malone missed, and he's got a third now.
Yeah, good bit of kidology.
That's right. Smart play from Ewing.
Yeah, very good hustle from Jordan. Quick feet, quick hands, altogether too much.
Quick brain, you name it. Just about everything about Michael Jordan is quick.
Oh, wonderful move. Shame it didn't finish up in the basket. Oh, good try from Viana. Well off balance. Poor pass to him.
Traveling. Well, the last move that Michael Jordan attempted on offense, he made that move successfully in the NBA playoff finals against Portland. And I tell you what else he did, Simon. He changed hands, and look at that lovely rebound there from number 12, Aristides Santos. What a great dunk off a rebound.
One of the youngest players. Just have a look at this. Skill from both teams, but look at the balance there.
The shot missed because of the attentions of Ewing, but the rebound was lovely.
So they're doing just about as well as ever. And look at the way Barkley got up once he'd been called out by Daly. He's so anxious to get back on there and just hit a few bodies. I think he glanced across at Evander Holyfield. I think you want to take him on as well.
They'd probably get even money on that as well. I tell you what, Charles Barkley's reputed to have lost about 50 pounds since he had a bad time a couple of years ago at Philadelphia. He was fined $10,000 for an incident which he actually spat on a little girl in the crowd. He didn't mean to. He meant to spit on a heckler, but the spit actually hit a little girl. And from that moment on, he decided he was going to be a reformed character. Lost 50 pounds, and well, this is the new lightweight Sir Charles we see in the Olympics.
Not a totally reformed character, but just slightly cleaned up.
That's right. He was quoted as saying he wasn't going to hit anybody else unless the person he was going to hit was pretty big.
Good move, Cardoza and Viana. For me, Viana's been the pick of the Brazilians so far.
Definitely. Bearded figure. Pipoca, his nickname. Plays with the Sports Club Ciro in Sao Paulo. Brad getting a little more behind their team now, Brazil.
Barkley. No, Jordan rather. And again, wonderful little turn. Robinson. Oh, there's Barkley.
What a slam off the rebound. Now really, Simon, the referee should stop the game now, because that basket is bound to be out of alignment after the pressure that Barkley put on it. You suppose you have to put 400 pounds of pressure to make that ring come off its hinges. And I tell you what, you put a lot more than 400 pounds then. That ring must be out of line now. Well, I hope we get a replay of that last dunk from Barkley, because that has been the most stupendous dunk of the game so far.
Second foul on Robinson, and a good move from Santos to draw the foul.
Here we go. Robinson misses on the left hand, and there's Barkley, and hangs on there. Despite the fact that the producer stopped it, he hung on there a long time. Well, I eat my words, because the referee has called a foul for reaching in against David Robinson there.
Well, that is his third foul, I think, so he'll have to be careful now. Probably a substitution coming, I would think. Number 5 fouls, and you don't take any further part in the game in basketball. The replacement, Christian Lettner. Lettner, one of the only college player yet to play in the NBA, but that won't take long. He signed up to play for Minnesota.
And doesn't he just look like the genuine all-round all-American boy, Simon? Classic example of a great athlete at a great American college, Duke.
Michael Jordan. Bird. Pippen. Bird again. Yes, good fake. And good fake from Lettner. Barkley. Well, they're ganging up on the referee to try and tell him that Barkley was pushing, but it looked to me like he called it right. Cardoza's foul.
I think he called it right, but what Villa-Boas, the number 4, was saying was, yeah, that's the push actually. Barkley went in there over the top, and that's exactly what Villa-Boas is saying. Call the first one, ref. And to my mind, Simon, he's right. Okay, we've got the benefit of slow-mo, but well, the referee's there to do the job. There's his minders behind him, young Holyfield.
He doesn't need minders. Nor does this fella. So Larry Bird, sideline possession. Just a couple of minutes left. The lead only 15, and not many people would have thought it would be this close. In fact, the spread from the bookmakers in London anticipating over 50 points. And it's going to be some second half if they manage that.
Yeah, that's really the only interest as far as bookmakers are concerned in this tournament now, Simon. How many the Americans are going to win by. I reckon, well, personally, I was very disappointed with the odds of something like 15 to 1 against the Americans winning the gold medal. I reckon it should have been nearer about 500 to 1, but then I'm not a bookie. And Jose Guerra picks up his third foul. Just ask the referee there very politely, which is good PR.
Victorino comes in for Viana, and warm applause for Viana, who had a really good spell there of 7 or 8 minutes. Michael Jordan foul, but still carries on with that momentum.
Trying to exchange hands there, going in right-handed and drawing the contact, switching hands. Not getting the left-handed layup, but getting 2 free throws instead.
See the crowd here in the Palais de Sport, 12,500 seater, not a seat to be had. Paying up to £50 for the privilege of watching this dream team, and you can watch it free here on Eurosport.
And do you know what the price of black market tickets is for the final, Simon? I reckon I heard today £2,500 for the final.
Letner not quite reading that. Victorino. Look at Barkley stealing in there. And again, what hustle. He deserves a basket here, and he gets it. That's typical. That sums him up with that move.
That is never say die, Sir Charles. He wanted that ball badly, even when his team is 15 to 20 points up. He'll hustle all over the court.
So now it's up to 19. Jorge Guerra. Well, it's looking a little ragged at the moment. And we haven't seen much of Schmidt at all, have we, after the first 3 or 4 minutes?
That's right.
Now, but he didn't really make an impact.
That's right, but then it's just like Kukoc. Schmidt has probably never seen defense like this. He's probably played against odd individuals who can play defense, but never 5 and more coming off the bench playing against him.
Jordan. Letner in the corner. Rebound Victorino. Good hands from Scottie Pippen. So alert into the last minute.
Americans staying in a man-to-man, but a sagging man-to-man. Look at that for a block shot from Barkley.
And he gets the possession.
Oh boy, he must have got it so high.
Pushed it back off Santos.
Santos is down at 6'9" and Barkley 6'5", and well, he stuffed it down his throat then. So
time for probably just this last offense before half-time. And they've looked really good in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Let's hope they can continue the momentum in the second half. From Germany, they slightly relaxed after they built up that 35-point lead at half-time.
There is a slight differential on the clock, so they have to shoot. And gave the ball away, Barkley. And 1 second, 2 seconds, a layup, which misses, and Brazil failed to make the last score of the half.
Guerra it was, but they don't look too dispirited, do they?
Well, they've been handed a lifeline by that result, Angola versus Spain today. They can still qualify, and their big game is going to come on Sunday morning against Germany. They just simply have to beat Germany to qualify for the quarterfinals. So really, the Brazilians, under coach one boxer, he can't go and borrow some gloves. In fact, it's Iranian who forgot his gloves the other night.
What a mix-up that was. So half-time nearly over, and time for Magic just to sit back and relax and watch the rest of the guys strut their stuff.
Must be almost like old times for Magic. He's got Rolando Ferreira on the Brazilian side, number 8. Sorry, he's got Oscar Schmidt on the other side, who actually played against Michigan State when Magic was there. And believe it or not, the Brazilians beat Magic in those days, but then again, Magic was only a young college kid. A lot of people have asked, is that his real name, Magic Johnson? Well, his real name is Irvin Johnson. That's the man on the screen there. But he was given the name, and it's stuck ever since. He was given the name Magic, I believe, as a result of something like a 34-point, 24 rebound, 17 assist performance in a high school game. And his coach afterwards was quoted as saying, well, if that's not Magic, I don't know what is. And he's had the name ever since.
So here we go then. 19 points the lead at half, 60 to 41. And again, Robinson gets the tip, but it goes to the Brazilians.
That is uncanny. Chuck Daly, well, he doesn't have to tear his hair out, but I bet he feels like it. How on earth did they lose that one?
Machado. Yes. 2 more for Machado.
The call from the defense was short, but not on that occasion.
Robinson. And for once, Barkley thwarted by D'Souza.
Good hustle there from the Brazilians. They forced another turnover.
They probably went in feeling pretty good about themselves. Oh, yes. That man again, Viana.
And I'll tell you what, that shot was almost from the bleachers. Not many people can shoot from that distance at international level. The shooter was about 2 meters outside the arc. Nice pass inside, and Larry Bird fouled. And even Larry doesn't like that one. Just questioning the referee's judgment there, but Oh, I reckon he got both arms of Israel Mercado.
He got a bit of the ball as well. We'll see.
The hand is part of the ball, but the hand stops at the wrist bone.
Right. Machado. Spent a lot of his time in Italy. Played 7 years there. Livorno originally, now with Rimini. His third Olympics.
I was saying at half-time, Simon, the Italian league full of foreigners, Brazilians, Americans, Yugoslavs, and really they're homegrown Italian players. They can't produce the goods when it comes to international level, and that's probably the reason why.
Michael. And Barkley again reacts quicker than anyone else. Clyde Drexler. Jordan again. Robinson takes the bump and gets the basket.
The big chest of David Robinson takes the impact, and the soft touch gets the score. A lot of people ask why on earth, or how on earth, does Charles Barkley at 6'4" get so many rebounds? Well, he reminds me very much of a great NBA player of the past, Wes Unseld, at 6'7", one of the smallest centres ever to play in the NBA, and the reason he got so many rebounds is purely and simply position, knowledge of position, where the ball's going to go. And Barkley reads the rebounds so well.
Look at Jordan hustling D'Souza, who does well. But Machado doesn't.
The intimidation again of Robinson, those long arms.
So much time and space for Barkley. 20 points in the first half for Charles Barkley. Oscar Schmidt. A little bit disappointing in the first half. Let's hope he can raise his game. Oscar now 34 years old, but such a legend in the game back home.
Yeah, perhaps it's a little bit late for Oscar to learn to use this experience as a learning situation. 34 years old now, but the man who can learn from a situation like this was Tony Kukoc the other night, who only got 4 points, mostly because of the attentions of Scottie Pippen. And well, let's hope he does learn from this experience.
Oh, good try. D'Souza through to Machado. Machado just didn't read it.
Again, the defense of the Americans is just absolutely, well, it's amazing to watch. They defend screens so well, and that is one of the most difficult parts of the game, how to get through or round or over the top of a screen. And the Brazilians are using screens very badly as a result of good defense from the Americans. Nice pass there from Larry Bird, and Robinson, a nice soft touch again, and he was fouled, so therefore he will get a bonus.
David Robinson from the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, no bonus because that foul has been called offensive. That's Robinson's 4th foul.
So one more and he's off, and he's disappointed because it means he probably won't be playing much more in this match. Don't think anyone's been fouled out in the Americans yet, but look at that replacement. 7 foot of Patrick Ewing.
Ewing was found out the other night, quite unfortunately for him. He reckoned he put his hands right up in the air on 3 occasions, but he was called a foul. But well, he's learned from that because now he's putting his hands right over the back of his head almost to avoid the foul, the European foul as it's been called.
And a really poor shot there from Schmidt. And the foul there on Barkley. As Schmidt tried to make amends.
And he did as well, Simon. Look what he did. He missed the 3-pointer by a long way, and his first thing was to hustle back on defense, and he paid off for him. Doubly so, in fact. He got the ball, and Barkley fouled him. 2nd foul against Charles Barkley. Shakes his head, but all he's got to do is look on the pad, the score pad, and it's there. 2 fouls.
Schmidt again. Now that's the kind of move he's famous for. Good hands in there from Machado. D'Souza. Varner, what a player he is.
Great assist there as well. And the man running down the court, number 7, Viana, on the fast break. He wants the ball. Again, a steal from the Brazilians. We have a 2-on-1 situation. Unfortunate there because the man, well, what he should really have done because of the presence of the defense was stop and look. That's what the Americans do. This is a previous pass, lovely assist there from number 10, D'Souza, and Viana had the easy job.
Kuhn it was who missed the ball in. Later on, here's Larry Bird. Oh, not quite the telepathy that we've come to know between Bird and Ewing there.
the hardest pass in the game there, and even the Americans couldn't execute it properly. The pass from the point guard into the low post. The defense can read it quite simply, and that's why there was a misunderstanding then.
So 4 minutes gone in the second half. Here's to Souza.
Job of defending Schmidt has gone to Drexler, and Drexler at the moment is denying him the pass.
Shot in from Kuhn again. Look at the hustle there from Bird and Ewing, and it worked. Barkley bangs into the Souza. He would have felt that.
That came from a great hustle from Larry Bird. He's still at 35 years old, got lightning hands.
Into the game again comes Scottie Pippen.
No aggravation from these American substitutes. You saw Clyde Drexler go off, just accepting the fact that he was going off and giving the player some court time. That's great teamwork. Good for team morale as well. Just goes off and accepts the fact that he's going to spend a bit of time on the bench now. And Chuck Daly trying to get everyone involved.
So Ewing to the line. First saw him when Georgetown got to the NCAA title back in '84. And he was the leader of the team. Very much a leader of the New York Knicks.
Just a measure of his influence on Georgetown as well. They've not really done much since Patrick turned pro, even with such a good coach as John Thompson.
Thompson, of course, who coached the team in Seoul.
That's right, got a bronze medal, and they don't come very often in the history of American Olympic basketball.
Barkley, sweet little move. In fact, it was Jordan.
That's the change of hands. Goes in for the right-hand layup and uses the spin, changes hands, and shoots a left-handed layup. Oh, look at that volleyball pass almost from Bird to get the fast break going.
And that was Barkley, all right.
You don't give Charles Barkley that amount of time. You just don't, because he'll drill it in.
Now this is a red-hot streak now, and look at the lead, how it's accelerating. The Americans charging right now. Bird. You can feel they're pumped up, the adrenaline moving, and this is where the spectacular moves are coming. A lovely little move, and again it's Jordan who finishes it off.
Great bounce pass inside there from Patrick Ewing to Jordan.
And suddenly from 18, 19 points, the lead up to 28. And any hopes they had of keeping it relatively close, gone. Look at Barkley there. Every single second he's concentrating.
Still, the intensity on defense is just awesome. And remember, these guys played 82 games regular NBA season. And Drexler, Jordan and Pippen, they played every game in the playoffs as well. Well, the playoffs actually went to 6, not 7.
Barkley, Jordan, Barkley, yes!
Classic example of what we were saying about they don't care who scores. In fact, they care more who makes the assist. Lovely assist there from Jordan to Barkley. 30 points, the margin.
Schmidt, Pippen with him. And he's hit in the face there.
Yeah, Pippen just reached in there to trying to slap the ball away and just clipped Oscar. You see it. Oh, that was a previous. That was the previous fast break. Watch this assist here from Pippen. That's the left-handed layup from Jordan. That was a couple of minutes ago. But Pippen just slapped Schmidt on the face then, quite accidentally, and Larry Bird got called a foul. Good hands there from Larry Bird again.
Pippen, Ewing, Barkley, once more. Unstoppable at the moment, and look, Barkley loves it. He knows he's playing the best game he's had so far here in Barcelona, and in the last few minutes they've really turned it on. This is what the crowd have come to see.
Well, 11,500 people are loving this, and the 1,000 Brazilian fans, they didn't exactly appreciate Charles Barkley going over to them then. So one or two gestures from the crowd that weren't exactly complimentary, but 90% of the crowd loving it.
Up to 33. De Souza. And the intensity on defence has picked up as well. There's just nothing on at the moment. They're being torn apart.
Oh. That has finished a fast break-off. Patrick Ewing. They love it as well.
Even the Brazilians now are beginning to warm to this.
Their last couple of games, they've eased off a bit at the end, but at the moment they seem to be saying, well, we're not going to ease off against these Brazilians. We want them badly.
It's usually been 2 spurts a game in each of the 3 matches we've watched. As Ewing, look at that immense power. 2 spurts, one to get ahead and the second just to let them know in the second half.
That's right, one to get ahead and one to put the icing on the cake at the end. A great quote again from USA Today from Alexander Gomelski, whose team, the Soviet Union, beat the Americans in Seoul in that semi-final, 82-76. He reckons that the dream team are spreading the gospel of basketball so that it will have an impact on the game internationally well into the next century, and what an accolade for any team to carry. And well, he reckons that maybe within 10 years we might see something like this in Europe, but he reckons this will influence the game of basketball well into the next century.
Jordan with a little stutter step, amazing speed of foot, and gets the foul. And this fantastic period of play has brought the wave here in the Palais de Sport.
And even at this time of night, in this sweltering cauldron of spectacular basketball, these people prepared to pay tribute to this fantastic team of wonderful athletes.
Of course, it's late night here whenever the Americans play, and that's geared for television as Pippen puts it in television back in the States. But they don't mind a late night in Barcelona. Whoa, Scottie Pippen.
But did you see the rebound from Patrick Ewing? Larry Bird went up, thought he got it, and Patrick Ewing out-jumped him by about 18 inches to take that rebound then. And Scottie Pippen, well, for the first time, missing a slam. Nice turnaround shot there. Nice simple basket from Ferreira, who went to the University of Houston.
Michael Jordan. Victorino complaining about the call, but I think that's all you can do at the moment. You either admire or you complain. And I don't think they're in for admiring at the moment. The crowd may be, but not the Brazilians. This is beginning to be a little demoralising.
Yeah, I think in all the games we've seen the Dream Team playing, there have been 1 or 2, and at the most a couple of bad calls. And who can blame the referees really at this level being intimidated by the likes of that man on your screen there? Overall, it's been a well-refereed tournament.
We thought there might be a danger of them being a little bit too respectful for these superstars, who they probably admired. The ones in Europe have seen the NBA games on television and thought, wouldn't it be nice? And it sure is nice, but it shouldn't be that nice.
That's right, yeah. I think Chuck Daly summed it up. He said the only way they're ever going to lose is if they get some referee, calls just about every call against them, or something like Spanish tummy or something that goes through the whole team. And well, who knows? They're playing Spain on Sunday, and I reckon that's the only way Spain are going to qualify. Malone there, another lovely layup. Left-handed. Was it Jordan?
Jordan it was. Fantastic move. And the lead up to 35. And odds on a basket here, although they've been trying to thread it through to Malone.
Well, that was a rare occasion there. Scottie Pippen chose the wrong option. Tried to bounce the ball round 2 players where Michael Jordan was steaming up on the right for the easier pass.
Bird, Pippen, Malone.
Travelling, Pippen got in the way then. A couple of rare errors from Scottie Pippen.
And the crowd, the Brazilian contingent, trying to get a chant going, but it's falling a little flat. No one's really looking at them at the moment. There's so much else to admire, and I'm afraid at the moment it's not in a yellow shirt.
Once again, the Brazilians been thrown that lifeline before this morning's games. They had consigned themselves to history and thought there was no way they were going to be in contention for a medal. But thanks to that fantastic performance for Angola, beating the home team Spain by 20 this morning, Brazilians been thrown the opportunity of getting into the quarterfinals. However, they have to either beat the United States tonight, which is, to say the least, unlikely, or they have to beat Germany on Sunday morning.
Malone. Good tip away, but not to any real effect. Still, the punishment is relentless. Jordan once more. And the lead up to 38 with 10 minutes on the clock. They're going to be long minutes, I'm afraid. Pippin, oh, that's cheeky. So cheeky, but wonderful to see.
Look at the big grin on his face. I tell you what, you don't see that very often. You only really see that kind of thing behind the back dribble on a layup, in a layup drill. You certainly don't see it very often in a game, not at this standard. And as you say, that's he's not exactly taking a mickey, but it's enjoying himself.
De Souza at last giving some respite. Ewing. Oh yes, getting a few behind the back there. Now Schmidt.
Well and truly clobbered, Oscar. He'll have 3 foul shots for that. Fouled in act of shooting from outside the arc by Karl Malone. Just on his way back, thought he'd intimidate the shooter. He did more than that, he whacked him on. Clyde Drexler coming back on and replacing Michael Jordan. Clyde Drexler, he's got a former University of Houston teammate playing against him. And we saw that layup from Scottie Pippen. It's the second of 3 foul shots for Oscar.
Oscar, who went to Italy back in '82 to Indesit Caserta, been there 9 years, now plays back in Brazil for Pavia.
If my memory serves me correctly, Simon, he won the Italian Championships with Finola Caserta the year before last, and when he left, well, he did nothing. So it speaks a lot for his ability as a scorer.
Pippen, Ewing, Malone again, but fouled. I think it was by Victorino.
Oh, you heard what the Brazilian bench thought of that call. And as you can hear, Victorino reckons he got the ball. Well, who can say he's wrong?
Malone.
Lenny Wilkins there, coach at Cleveland Cavaliers, really enjoying the joke, if there was a joke, or perhaps just enjoying the performance of his star-studded team. Patrick Ewing just nonchalantly walking away, knowing very well that Malone was going to score that second foul shot.
Sometimes when you see stars of this caliber, all you can do is actually smile.
Chris Mullins just reaching in there and putting Marcel de Souza on the foul line.
Marcel de Souza, in fact, a doctor on the one-on-one. And I think there's a lot of healing he could do at the end of this.
Healing of the mind.
Yes. But has the composure to land the layups. And I don't think we've seen the last of Michael. I think he'll be back for a little late burst. This is showbiz as well as sport. Look at the leaping in there from Drexler. Malone into Ewing. Fantastic stuff.
Well, the saying in basketball is that the game that wins the rebounds wins the game, and I don't think that applies to this, because even if the United States lost most of the rebounds, they'd still win the game. But Brazilians giving up far too many second offenses here, and that was Drexler then missing the three-pointer but getting his own rebound, and as a result of that, Ewing got 2 and a foul and a bonus.
And a beautiful action he has from the line.
To call that a high action is slight underestimation, coming from about 9'6", I reckon, that ball then. Mullin blocking the shot. And really, Oscar's just forcing it now. I mean, possibly for personal total. And oh, Scottie Pippen, that is outrageous. One-handed, and well, was he about 11 feet 6 over the rim then?
Good move from Schmidt to the other end, and he owed them one. But a constant buzz now around the Palais de Sport. Great little move. Malone finishes it off. And 101 points. I hate to think what the final margin's going to be like. Defense seems to have gone by the board now.
I don't think the margin's going to be quite as big as it was against Angola, but I reckon the United States are going to get more than the 116 they scored against Angola. Especially when you get Mullin shooting threes like that.
Oh, foul there on Mullin, but it looks like the Brazilians have actually conceded the defense.
That's right, and look at that situation then. Mullin scored a three-pointer at one end and was there back contesting the layup at the other end.
That's his third foul. Puts Victorino in. Victorino, another in his 30s, 32 he is, his third Olympic Games. 2 World Cups, 3 Pan American Games. Played here in Spain for a season.
Don't actually know much about the Brazilian league side, Simon, because all it says in the FIBA handbook and all it says in their publicity tournament as well is that more information can be required from this phone number. That's basically it. So I must confess, don't know much about Brazilian basketball other than what's happening with the national team.
Malone. Better hustle there from Brazilians. Oscar. Victorino.
Drexler content to take the charge and get the fast break going at the other end, and this is Mullin for a nice 2 and another bonus. Again, a great example there of an American content to do something at one end but get down the other end as quickly as possible after possession or when possession is lost. Drexler there taking the charge, nothing called, and was there at the other end to provide the assist.
So Victorino has to go off with his 4 fouls. That's the massive figure of Israel Machado. And here's Mullin. Doesn't miss many from the line. To Souza. Nice little tip in from Viana. Lead up to 42. Mullin again in the corner. Not his best spell.
One of the difficulties these Americans may have is that they're playing a 40-minute game as opposed to a 48. And in the NBA, a lot of these players are star players of their club and expecting to get a lot more court time than the 7 or 8 minutes that they're getting at the moment. So people like Mullin perhaps just taking a little bit of time to get into it. But look at the flying Clyde Drexler. Clyde the glide. And didn't he just glide through the defense then? And it was quickly answered with not exactly a dunk, but a good layup at the other end. Clyde the glide just seems to ease his way through that defense.
Mullin. Drexler. That time draws the foul, but you can see anxious to impose his character on the game. Not been one of the stars so far. Machado with his 4th foul.
There was a lot of speculation about who was going to be the 11th and 12th men in the Dream Team. The first 10 were picked a year ago, and the 11th and 12th players picked very late, and one of those late picks was Clyde Drexler. The other one was Christian Leighton, I do believe. Clyde often being referred to as the nearly man. Nearly won an NCAA title, nearly won an NBA title. and nearly didn't get picked for this Olympic team.
But I've nearly settled for his talent.
Oh, what a great athlete. I mean, the second in the MVPs as Scottie Pippen finishes off another fast break with a dunk. But you're right, Clyde Drexler, an awesome athletic talent. And I tell you what, when he wins something, he'll let everybody know about it. He's going to win a gold medal here, we reckon. And so does everybody else. There's Pippen on the end of the break again. Another dunk. You know, I don't reckon he can do an ordinary layup. He has to dunk it.
Might be right. Already they scored 52 points in the second half, and there's still just under 6 minutes left.
Well, that went through about 3 defensive hands then.
Marcel de Souza it was. Pippen. Drexler.
Well, Drexler, I don't know what he was trying to do then, but he just sort of turned away and threw it somewhere. Perhaps he was anticipating a bit of a whack coming from someone. Referee from Czechoslovakia, that's Mr. Koller. Just stopping the game to wipe the ball down there.
Very, very hot in here. Outside, the temperature still well in the high 20s. Drexler. Malin in space with time. No problem.
Almost every time these Brazilians get a shot away, they have to almost change the angle of the shot, like we found with Michael Jackal the other night playing for Germany. He was shooting and the shot block was there. There again, exactly the same. Patrick Ewing just going to block the shot, getting the fast breakaway. And Scottie Pippen gives it in to Mullin. Pass along the baseline for Malone. And on this occasion, failing to score. But again, an instance of the intimidation of Ewing at one end, starting the fast break at the other.
Brazilians beginning to drop their heads a little now. They were just standing still while all that went on the other end.
Yeah, they've got a big game on Sunday morning, and I'm not going to say that the coach is actually giving the game to the bench, because Oscar's still out there, but well, they've got a big game on Sunday and want to really conserve all their energy. And foul there on Patrick Ewing, and he's put number 12, Aristides Santos, on the line for 2 free throws.
Ewing goes off, Lettner comes on for the final couple of minutes. And Robinson too. De Souza. Santos rather. Only 2 years on the national team, one of the younger players, but already has played in the World Championships in Argentina and the Pan American Games. So no shortage of top line experience, but not quite of this quality. So 4th foul on Mullin. But you can never say they're in foul trouble with a bench like theirs. And again in his favourite place in the corner. And same result.
Yeah, put Mullin in that corner and he's going to get a large percentage, or high percentage of the shots in from there. I think that's about his 3rd three-pointer from that same spot on the floor. 2 in the first half and 1 in this second half. Oh, it's a long three-pointer there for Brazil, and a very unusual shooting action from Villas-Boas.
Pippen, Drexler, Robinson, and that was absolutely no problem.
Well, I bet Robinson certainly didn't think that when he got his bronze medal in Seoul that he would get another opportunity at an Olympic title, because he thought, obviously, when he turned pro, that was his Olympic career over. But thanks to Boris Stankovic, the FIBA General Secretary, and of course the President of the Olympic Association, Samaranch, he's got another chance. Pippen again, and Mullin in the corner, drills it home again.
So the lead up to 48. Schmidt. Well, it's hardly high percentage basketball. Villas-Boas. And the whole tempo slowed right down. And Schmidt not really challenged then.
No. It just staggers the mind to think how these Americans are going to approach the final, whoever it is against, because they're outplaying people so easily in this situation. Just think what they're going to do in the final.
Drexler. Oh, massive stuff there from Robinson. And he'd have enjoyed that.
How tall do you reckon Holyfield is, Simon?
He's about 6'2".
Probably make a mean guard then. And there's another 3 from Oscar from that same spot on the floor. They expect 40 points a game from Oscar, and he's getting a lot at the end here to make his stats look respectable.
Actually, it's a fair question, that, because when you thought about Robinson, who made that move, he's the best part of a foot, 11 inches taller than Holyfield. And it's getting very, very easy for the Americans now. Defense, a thing of the past, as the scoreboard shows. Boas. Robinson once more. Having a great little spell here. Pippin. Well, pretty lucky.
Well, that would have been an amazing move from Pippin then. And using so much spin. But Leitner gets the rebound at the other end, and this is Mullin off on the fast break.
Again, casual little tip from Drexler, and they just watched it.
That's about the score that the United States beat Venezuela. In the final of the American tournament, it was 127-80. And it's going to be virtually the same in his pool game against Brazil.
Santos, yes, 2 more for him. Surprised again that we haven't seen more of Viana. Maybe he's been given a rest for the big game coming up on Sunday morning.
That's right, coach saving a couple of his key players. I'm surprised Schmidt's still on the court, but then perhaps that's just indicative of Schmidt's personality, his ego. And the clock ticking down, and Scottie Pippen just contents to run it down and take the last shot. And perhaps the crowd just want to see a 3-pointer or another dunk. There's the long shot.
So, very, very impressive once again in patches. A truly memorable patch at just towards halfway in the second half, where they really screamed away from that 19-point half-time lead to 40 points or so. Oscar Schmidt, full of congratulations, and what a strong performance that was in that period, and again at around the same period in the first half. And the Brazilians don't look too downhearted. I don't think they'll be too worried by that scoreline. Sunday morning is what they'll remember, but the crowd will remember, once again, some wonderful skills.
Well, we saw a couple of awesome dunks in there, and some lovely fast break moves as well, as Magic, the great ambassador that he is. The one dunk I can remember really well, there was one in the first half from Charles Barkley that almost brought the basket down, and the flying dunk from Scottie Pippen in the second half was just absolutely breathtaking.
So the USA are through. They were through before, but they're now undoubtedly through as winners of the group.
They've got 1 game remaining, and that's against the host team Spain. But the most important game on Sunday is Brazil against Germany, 9:30 Central European time, 8:30 in the morning UK.
So that'll be a good way to start the morning off.
And remind you that the next
8:30 start, as Roy said, if you're in the UK. You won't be seeing quite those kind of skills, but you'll be seeing a much more even contest with so much at stake. Good contrast to what we've seen today. That really was fantastic there from Scottie Pippen.
That was the dunk of the game as far as I'm concerned, and this cheeky little move as well from Scottie Pippen. Jordan gets a lot of the accolades at Chicago, but Scottie Pippen makes a lot of points for him as well. Great player, Scottie Pippen.
And here's Drexler. Drexler taking it all on here. And
Clyde the Glide.
Just comfortably let through. Malone, they all had to go really.
Thomas, međutim čini mi se da je ipak odraz najvažniji.